So another skill pointer that I would like to give you a tip is I see people sometimes will start with the highest note in the song and they will go fa, sol, la, fa, sort of like this. Now, it's funny, but I would say 9 times out of 10 when people use that method, they just say, what's the highest note of the song? See how high it can possibly go and key everything else based on that. That it's often too low. They get it slightly off. So I do believe that having reference keys of songs that you know is the best way forward. Now, what do you do if you have only 1 or 2 reference keys? 1 or 2 reference songs? Well, here, this is helpful. So, if you have, like, let's say you have Idumea is your reference song. You know that song, you can hear the key in your head, the tonalité, you can hear it. So, la, fa, la. So then you need a song that's in E, okay, E. So E is down here. La, so, fa, la, la. There you go. There it is. So you can just move down the scale to the note you need. If you only have one rung of the ladder to clutch to, then you use that piece of the ladder and then just move in the scale to the place that you need for this. Now, I would also say this is not a skill that everyone needs to learn, and maybe it's also a waste of time for everyone to try to learn it. It's better if you have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people in your group who can do this.
C'est pas toujours obligé d'apprendre à donner la bonne tonalité, parce que c'est des fois très compliqué à faire, et c'est bien d'avoir 2-3 personnes qui peuvent le faire dans un groupe. Je rêve d'en avoir 2-3.
So, remember there are 3 kinds of feedback. So this is my point, sort of like the Marin before, about the accentuation. Here, we're talking about keying 3 kinds of feedback. One is acoustic feedback. Acoustic feedback, you listen to what's happening. The second one is throat feel. Is it comfortable to sing? And the third is feedback from the class in terms of facial expressions. You will see whether they are comfortable and whether they are enjoying themselves. Yeah? So those are the things that I think make a good keyer. The keyer should key for the class and not for themselves. If you are someone who likes to sing really high, remember that not everyone has the ability to sing really high. And similarly, you just have to remember you've got voice parts in some songs that are written quite high. So in the treble it might be very high, or the alto might be very high, or similarly the bass might be unusually low in a song. So you have to look at the song and have a little bit of an understanding of what's going on. It is helpful for a keyer to have sung some other voice parts. If you are learning to key, go and sit in a different voice part for an hour sometime and experience that so that you feel where that voice part likes to sit. Yeah? I sometimes will go and sit in the treble. I'm really not a treble, but I find it useful to stretch my voice just as like an acrobatic exercise, and also to know that part better. It makes me better as a singer. And I sing bass. Unfortunately, I can't do it in the alto, but I would if I could. So anyway, that's enough of keying, and that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
soon. So we can have questions if you want about keying.
It seems like the reason why maybe it's not the best idea to key off the highest note is because the character of a lot of songs is that highest note, and it should be a stretch, but it should be singable. But if you bring that note into comfort, you don't get that character.
So a famous shape note singer from the American South once said, I would never let, he's a keyer, I would never let a high note spoil an otherwise good song.
Right.
So if there is a high note in a song, which is kind of impossible, you have to try to ignore it when you're keying.
Right.
Because if you key the whole song to that high note, that might put the song down too low.
Yeah, it's weirdly often the most enjoyable part of a song is when you do have to push and go somewhere in your ripple range you haven't, whether it's high or low.
Yeah.
But but you know it's all wrong if the tonic, for example, is unreachable. I mean, obviously that's up.
Does your group know 282?
Yes.
282? Let's look at that. We can sing that as like the closing song now. This is an example of what we're talking about.
Yeah. I'll sing it like it, but as you know, I'm no keyer, so it's always very difficult for me to give any.
This is a hard song for everyone. Yeah. So we'll just sing that. We'll just sing the notes in one verse. So it says F major. Normally, when I am keying, unless I'm keying at a time of day when everyone is really wants to do it and go as high as they can go, I would say F major minus. So a little bit lower than F major.
What's your F major reference to?
So my F major reference tune used to be Liverpool. Now I have an F major throat feel. I don't have to listen to the. Oh, you get, if you have been doing it for years, the reference keys kind of fade away, reference songs fade away, and you have throat feel. And then you can just do it on the basis of throat feel.
Au départ, pour qu'il y ait, on a des chants de référence qui nous donnent la tonalité. Et au bout d'un moment, quand on a suffisamment donné cette tonalité, qu'on a suffisamment utilisé la référence, alors on a un ressenti dans la gorge.
Throat
On
feel.
a un ressenti de la tonalité dans la gorge. En tout cas, c'est ce que dit Michael.
It's muscles.
La mémoire.
So I would say the normal F for me would be something like Liverpool. One second. Just look at it. Fa ha la sol fa sol fa fa sol la sol la sol la sol fa sol fa fa la sol la. So that's quite bright. That's a high F. It sounds okay, but if I did that for 282, so fa so la so la so fa la so la so fa la. So it's like that. So you can only do that high about once in the singing. And if you have to do all the verses of this with repeats and everything, so many times you come to that high note and it'll be silence because no one can. So let's try singing it a little bit lower. Fa ha so la fa ha so la so la so la la so fa fa so la so fa fa so la so la la so So the character of this song is those notes. That's what it's all about. You're just leading up to that moment. So it's like it's like fireworks. How do you say fireworks?
Feu d'artifice.
Feu d'artifice. Yeah, it's like that.
Feu d'artifice.
Yeah.
Fire of the artifice.
So we'll sing just one verse. Building world and going home, my Savior's words and days they come, and I don't care to stay here long. Sweet angels beckon me away to sing God's praise in endlessly, and I don't care to stay here long. Right up yonder, Christians away up yonder. Oh, rest my love, for I don't care to stay here long. So one thing that happens in this song, which is also very characteristic for sacred harp singing, for shape note music, is you have a phenomenon called thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning.
Il y a un phénomène qui s'appelle le tonnerre et les éclairs.
Yeah. So
La foudre et les éclairs.
So when the tenor sings the high note, that is immediately followed by the same note in the treble. And then the treble sings it again, and then the tenor sings it again, and then the treble sings it 2 more times. So that is like the feu d'artifice going like that. Yeah? So that's the effect that we're trying to achieve. If you key the song too low, let's just listen to the notes if it's keyed very low. Fa, sol, la, fa, fa, sol, 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 la, sol, sol, la, sol, la, 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 sol, fa, fa, la, sol, la, sol, la, fa, sol, fa, fa, sol, 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 la, sol, sol, la, sol, la, 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 sol, fa, fa, la, sol, la, sol, sol, la, sol, fa, So, il n'y a pas de feu d'artifice. Nothing. Rien. Yeah? So that's why you need to be in the right key.
C'est pour ça qu'on a besoin d'être vraiment de trouver la bonne tonalité à ce moment-là, pour qu'il y ait le feu d'artifice entre les voix des ténors et des...
So this is what you need to be listening for as the keyer. If those effects don't happen, then you probably have it wrong. So those are the effects you're looking for.
You need meteorological science skills and music skills.
Yeah, there's something that I call shimmer, which happens with the high notes in the treble, and if you have heard it, then you know.
Rainbow.
It's got to do with waves. I mean sound waves.
Uh-huh.
So if you don't have the shimmer, if you do have the shimmer, then you have a moment of the surges out of the texture. This note, these high notes come out, and you hear that, and you also hear the harmony in a particularly clear way. This is called, I call it shimmer, and if you want to have like good singing, try to you try to do that with this shimmer. I can actually tell you tomorrow when we have achieved it, and you can hear it.
What is shimmer?
Shimmer.
Shimmer, c'est